We're here with Dr. Roberts-Nkrumah, right? And she's here with me today to talk about breadfruit, right? So, Doctor, you could just tell me a little bit more about yourself?
First of all, I want to welcome you to the University of the West
Thank
Indies and to thank you for your interest in breadfruit.
Thank you.
And so I am most happy to share with you, especially as a young chef,
Yes.
about breadfruit.
Great.
I started working with breadfruit since about 1990.
Wow.
And the impetus for doing so was basically because there are a lot of breadfruit trees around our country.
Yes.
And I observed that not much was being done
about it.
A lot of trees come into bearing, and most of the fruits simply fell and were wasted. People harvested what they could to make the occasional meal. They shared with neighbors and so on. But by and large, much of the yield was wasted. And at the same time, we were talking about food and nutrition security, as we have been talking for decades. So it seemed to me that this was a very obvious and available source of food that nobody was taking on. And so I started to do some research to find out, well, just how much is known about breadfruit. Breadfruit has been in the Caribbean for quite some time, since 1793. It is not a native species to our part of the world, but it is a very tropical crop, and it does very, very well here. It was first introduced by Captain Bligh in 1793, first of all to St. Vincent and Jamaica, and from those islands it
made
spread
its way down
to the rest of the Caribbean and much of the Americas and other parts of the world.
Correct.
So breadfruit, it has developed as a staple food in the Caribbean in a number of the countries, maybe in some parts of Trinidad and Tobago more than in others. In places like Grenada, St. Vincent, Jamaica, it is a really highly regarded
a staple. It is a staple over there.
Yes, very highly regarded, as it is in its place of origin, where it's a food that, it's offered first to the chiefs, the first crop, right? So we here in Trinidad and Tobago, we have breadfruit, and our breadfruit, like in most other parts of the world, is seasonal, it's a seasonal crop. But what is beautiful about it is that this tree, one tree, can produce during the course of a year well over 200 or 300 fruits.
Wow.
And when you look at our yellow breadfruit, which is the type that is most common here, yellow breadfruit can be anywhere between 4 to 5 pounds. You realize that one fruit can be just cooked to provide a meal, quite a filling meal for the family. So breadfruit does have a very important role to play in the diet, not just because it creates a food that is basically like a kind of belly fill. It's quite a filling food.
Yeah, it is indeed.
But that particular characteristic to give you a sense of satiation, all right, or satiety, is because it has a special type of carbohydrate. A lot of people resist using the ground provisions, and breadfruit is regarded as a ground provision as well, because it's a starchy food, locally grown, and the history of our root crops and crops like breadfruit is that they were first and foremost primarily grown on the provision grounds of enslaved Africans who were here, during the time of sugar cultivation. But what is so special about the carbohydrate, the type of carbohydrate in breadfruit and the root crops as well, is that it's a type of carbohydrate that is complex, which means that it is not as readily metabolized or burnt up for energy by the body. And because it tends to stay in the digestive system long because of the high fiber content, right? The high fiber content, it gives that sense of satiation, right? Or satiety, that fullness. You see? That is very good for us as a Caribbean people who tend to have very high levels of diabetes mellitus and obesity and all of the related chronic lifestyle diseases in our society. All right? So that it is not a starch like the cereals like the rice and the flour, are very, very easily metabolized.
Yeah.
Okay, so that you would, have a sandwich or two, and in another 2 hours you feel hungry. And that is because those carbohydrates are
Everything
very
is burned
quickly
out.
consumed. So that is one of the pluses about breadfruit, in addition to which it's high in potassium, which is very good if you have health challenges like hypertension, where you would want to avoid the sodium, but you must maintain the electrolyte balance and so in your body. So potassium is what is normally recommended as a substitute. Breadfruit is high. And there are a number of other vitamins and minerals that are available in appreciable quantities in breadfruit. That makes it a just good all-round food, for consumption. In addition to which, as a chef, you would know, it is very, very versatile.
Yeah, it is.
Right? The flavor is bland, but that means that you can
make it
anywhere,
into,
right? You can make it what you want it to be.
Exactly.
So it's a great food.
It is.
Yeah.
So tell me, doctor, what is your favorite way to have the dish, to have breadfruit?
If I tell you, my favorite way of consuming breadfruit is not one of the
well-known,
well-known, but it's actually as a sauce.
Really?
Breadfruit sauce, yes.
I've never had breadfruit sauce. I've never had breadfruit sauce. Okay, that sounds interesting. I've never had that before.
Yes, it's Barbadian, but it is delightful.
It's great. Okay.
In Trinidad and Tobago, and as it is throughout much of the Caribbean, we have basically 1 or 2 breadfruit cultivars. Some countries do not even recognize a difference between the cultivars. They just say everything is breadfruit. In Trinidad and Tobago and elsewhere, we recognize yellow and white, and that really has to do with the flesh color.
Okay.
And throughout the region, there is a preference for the yellow.
Okay.
The yellow has higher content of carotene.
Okay.
All right. And of course, that's good for the eye. That's a vitamin precursor. And people talk about it in terms of the flavor and even the eating quality.
Okay.
The white tends to be firmer textured.
All right.
But both of them can be used basically for similar purposes. But in a survey that we did among consumers a few years ago, what we found was that there was a strong preference for the yellow, and people tended to use the different cultivars for different things. So for example, for the oil down, the yellow would be the favorite.
It's the best thing for it.
Whereas where people were producing chips, like for frying,
I love breadfruit
then
chips.
they would use
the white one. Oh, okay.
And even for processing like as canned slices, as is done in Jamaica, the white is preferable because it stands up better in that brine over a longer period than the yellow. So that's the other thing about breadfruit. It has processing potential.
Great,
in
that's
many
good.
Forms. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think there's a possibility for Trinidad to hold such a standard as processing it?
Oh yes, and we do have a few processors. For example, there's Trini Style, who is doing breadfruit chunks. I see his products all the time in the supermarket, massive stores, and so that those chunks are available, just ready for you to put into your oil.
Great, I'll have a look at that.
Avrils have been doing for years a breadfruit snack.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we were the first country in the region to export breadfruit chips to Walmart's.
Really?
Yes, some years ago, since the 90s. Nutty Kings, I think, was the company that used to do that. And then they came out of it for various reasons. But there certainly is a market. I have seen breadfruit punch being sold.
Yes.
And apart from that, some years ago, not so long ago, 2015, we held an international breadfruit conference right here. Our university hosted it. And at the end, we had a wonderful exhibition on breadfruit products. And people from various communities in Trinidad and Tobago came together to produce. And I saw some things. I mean, I saw breadfruit Nkrumah, breadfruit
everything.
wine, breadfruit
wine,
cheesecake, breadfruit.
Wow.
I even saw creams.
Breadfruit cream.
Lotions, and so prepared from breadfruit. We saw breadfruit paper. I was able to buy myself a pair of earrings made from breadfruit paper.
Really?
They look extremely creative.
That's great.
So
that's great.
Both food products and non-food products are possible from breadfruit. And I want to just draw your attention to these yellowing leaves.
Sure.
These yellowing leaves, older people would know that they can be used for medicinal purposes,
Okay.
chief among which is reducing hypertension.
Okay.
What they do is that they take the yellowing leaves, steep them in hot water, and then drink that. And it has been medically proven
Okay.
at the university at Mona that those yellowing leaves do contain some biochemical
Okay.
active ingredient there that actually brings down
It decreases it.
the hypertension.
Okay, nice. That's
Older
good.
people have used the latex for sciatica. All right, they use it to apply to sprains, you know, and any kind of muscular sprains and that sort of thing, and to your joints to heal those situations where you have sprains and joints. So that's one of the traditional uses, as well as the use of the lagni for catching birds in hunting. That's a traditional use. But I should let you know also that in about 2016, a group of researchers working in Nigeria, it was a joint piece of work between Nigeria and South Korea, actually patented an extract from breadfruit that has effectively controlled a range of cancerous cells from various types of cancer, breast, prostate, some of those that are important to us, pancreatic cancer, all right, and they actually patented it. So all I'm just saying here is that there are diverse uses, both food uses, medicinal, non-food uses like medicinal. It can be fed to livestock as well. The wood is also quite an attractive wood. People have used it in the past for housing. Okay. And for I've seen handicraft from it. Yeah. And
as well as the earrings. Well,
yes. Yes, and talking about handicraft, the leaves are such a, you know, they are just so beautifully designed. And it's a beautiful tree. I like that shape. That you have seen it
it's
also
a huge tree as well.
On motifs and you know, in art and craft. Yes, it's a huge tree.
It's a huge
and that
tree.
is one of the reasons for research. Because most
tree.
producers and most homeowners will tell you that if it is one thing that they would like to see in a breadfruit tree, is that they would like to get it shorter. They would like to see a dwarf breadfruit tree. And as a matter of fact, we are standing in a field in which we are looking at two cultivars, one of those that I imported, that everybody thinks is a dwarf, and our regular yellow breadfruit that everybody knows to be a tall breadfruit. And what we have seen is that right here, we have them growing side by side, same condition, same treatment.
Okay.
And while it is that the so-called dwarf may start off shorter and growing more slowly, in fact, it is a more compact breadfruit, so it has the appearance of looking shorter. But when you measure it,
it's about the same.
Same height. We have seen that.
That's just the nature of the tree.
Yes, so it has that illusion, but it is not really short.
Oh, okay.
All right, and it bears a smaller fruit, and we have other little issues with it that we are working on, but some people have taken it and they like it as well. Huh?
Doctor, I want to thank you so much. I can't imagine what it is to wake up and be able to come on fields and just, you know, be able to explore the fruit and just enjoy what it is, you know. I thank you again. It really was a privilege because, like I said in the beginning, I never knew much about the fruit, and it was interesting to get some insights about the fruit, you know, so I really appreciate that. So thank you. And I pray for your continued success, and I appreciate what you're doing on behalf of the nation. I know a lot of people are not aware of what you're doing, but we appreciate that, and not everybody will take the time to do what you're doing. So we appreciate that.
Well, I thank you very much, and I really must congratulate you as young people getting out here as early as you did to do, you know, this little feature on breadfruit. And I really do wish you well.
Thank you.
In your endeavors, and I trust that you will be encouraged to explore the fruit, right? Let me tell you, I've even seen breadfruit puffs, all right, that can be used as a breadfruit cereal. Okay. There are people making breadfruit granola. Wow. Right? So we have different varieties.
Yeah, it's really helpful.
And I would really like to encourage you to keep in touch.
Yes.
And to, you know, just allow your imagination to go.
Yes.
All right.
Great.
Great. And thank you for the prayers. We need it. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.